begins with 4 friends, one of whom is named Caleb. They all jump off a very high mountain because they were children from different powerful witch families, meaning they were from the bloodline of those witch families. Therefore, they also possessed powers similar to witches. At the bottom of the mountain, some school kids were partying, and the 4 of them joined them. Now, one of their female friends introduces everyone to a girl named Sarah, whom Caleb had started to like. A boy and his friend come over and start arguing with them about something, and they say some mean things about Sarah. Seeing this, one of Caleb's friends uses his rich powers, causing another boy to vomit on the one who was arguing with them. This makes both Sarah and Caleb laugh. Meanwhile, another boy named Chase comes over to meet them. He had recently enrolled in the school, but then they find out that the police are coming, so everyone hides in fear. Caleb and his 4 friends were in one car, while Sarah and her friend were in another. However, Sarah's car breaks down, so she asks Caleb for help, but their friend, who was the angriest and kept using his powers, does so again here. With his help, he fixes Sarah's car. Just then, the police spot the car of the 4 friends, so they quickly start to flee in their vehicle. In a short while, their car falls into a ravine, which shocks the police. But the next moment, they bring their car back in front of the police and escape from there. Obviously, they did all this with their powers. Now, Sarah and her friend arrive at the hostel, while the rest, including Caleb, return home. Caleb's mother is quite worried about him because all other children receive their powers at the age of 13. Then at 18, they have their assignment, which means the growth of their powers, making them even stronger. As witches use their powers, they will appear younger. This is why Caleb's mother was worried, as when Caleb's dad's powers grew, he started using them excessively, which led to his death. Therefore, his mother tells Caleb not to use his powers because she doesn't want to lose him. At least only use them when necessary. Meanwhile, Sarah and her friend are talking about Caleb and his friends. Her friend tells Sarah that the 4 of them are the last 5 from the witch family bloodline. Sarah then asks where the 5th one is, since there are only 4 friends. Her friend informs her that the 5th bloodline had died. In the forest where everyone was partying, the police find the body of a child. While Sarah was showering in the hostel, she felt someone's presence. She gets scared because it seemed like someone was watching her. When she goes out to check, she finds a broken lamp. While she's checking this, a shadow of a person appears behind her, which is currently in the form of smoke. Sarah cannot see it, but as she gets scared and is going back to her room, Caleb's friend arrives. Sarah tells him everything, and they go to check the bathroom, but there is no one there. Now, the news of the child's death was also printed in the newspaper. While Caleb was driving, he was talking to his friend on the phone about this, and he suspected the same friend who got the angriest and used his powers the most. He also had a grudge against Caleb because Caleb's powers were supposed to grow first. While they were talking, suddenly the ghost of that child sits next to Caleb in the passenger seat, scaring him like a drone. Distracted, he crashes his car into a truck. A terrible accident occurs, and the car gets shattered into pieces. It was bad for him, but then he uses his powers to reassemble the car. He tells his friend about this, and they become quite worried about who sent the ghost of that child to them. Now, while Caleb was buying medicine, Sarah's friend comes and asks him to join the party. The new boy, Chase, agrees, but Caleb declines, saying he has some important work and cannot come. When Sarah tells him to come, saying she will help him with his work, Caleb agrees and takes her to an old house. He leaves Sarah in the car and goes inside the house, where he gives the medicine, and we see an old man's hands on a chair. When they return, they go to the same club where the party is happening, and their other friends are enjoying themselves. They start dancing and having a great time. Their angry friends group gets into a fight. In fact, Caleb's friend won a bet with the help of his powers, and the group refuses to pay him. Caleb comes to try to end their fight, but his friend attacks him with his powers. This angers Caleb, and since he had the most powers, he retaliates against his friend, saying they shouldn't use their powers, especially against each other. But now the people there were sure that the stubborn friend was the one who had hurt that boy. When Sarah was about to leave home, they started chatting a lot on the way and confessed their love for each other. Then Sarah had a strange, scary dream. In it, some flies clung to her leg. Before she knew it, so many flies surrounded her that she became very frightened. She saw that these flies were coming out of her friend. Their angry friend also called and said, "Hey, convince Ken that I didn't kill that boy. I also saw his ghost." The next day, when Carrie came to school, the principal scolded him a lot because she had found out that these people had a fight at the club the previous night. The next day, Sarah went to the school library and started reading about magic involving flies. In the book, she saw an image similar to what she had seen in her dream, which made her realize that something was definitely wrong with her. At school, a boy started misbehaving after coming from Chess. He had caught Chess, but Chess easily freed himself and caught him, then threw him down and chased him away. Caleb also saw this and was quite surprised. That night, when Caleb was trying to sleep, that boy's ghost came back and scared him again. The next day, he met Chess again. They came to the school swimming pool to compete in swimming. Ken was about to win, but at the last moment, Chess did something that changed the color of his eyes. As soon as that happened, Ken collided with something at the bottom of the pool, losing consciousness and thus losing the competition. When he regained consciousness, he tried to explain to his friends that Chess had defeated him with magic because he had seen the color of his eyes change. However, his friends did not believe him, as they thought Chess had no powers and told him to admit defeat. The next day, after class, the principal called them to her office and asked about that boy's death. The principal suspected Chess because the police had found Chess's ID behind the boy's car. Meanwhile, Ken and his friend decided to find out about the boy's ghost. Based on how they had seen Chess behaving, they suspected him too. Both friends sneaked into the school and began to look into Chess's details. Sarah found out that her friend's health had suddenly deteriorated so much that he had to be admitted to the hospital, so she went to see her friend there. The doctor informed her that her friend had an infection, and it looked like he had been bitten by many flies. Hearing this, Sarah remembered her dream about the flies. On the other hand, while searching for information about Chess, Ken found out that his mother had died at a young age, and the woman who had adopted him had also died when Chess was 18. Reading this made Ken and his friend suspicious that Chess was probably a witch like them, and they remembered the magical book they had studied in childhood. That's why all the friends went to the convent together. First, they gathered a lot of information about it, after which they read that magical book. They learned that Chess was also a witch and belonged to the bloodline of the fifth witch family, which they had thought was dead. Knowing this, Caleb asked his angry friend, "Okay, now tell me the truth, you killed that boy." To this, Caleb's friend replied, "Man, I swear I didn't kill him. On the contrary, I saw his ghost, but he was bothering me." Hearing this, the friends became convinced. This meant that Chess was behind all of this, and everything that had been happening to them was Chess's doing. Sarah informed her friends about her friend's condition. This friend was now Caleb's best friend's best friend, and upon hearing about her friend's condition, she couldn't hold back and immediately took her bike and left. But on the way, Caleb's friend encountered Chess, who used his powers to break her bike into pieces. It turned out that Chess was the most powerful because he had been controlling his powers from the beginning. Carrie's friend told him not to harm his friend. To this, Chess replied that yes, perhaps he would reach her because your friend and Sarah were just a means to reach all three of you. Now Chess was in the form of Caleb, near Sarah. But when the real Caleb arrived, he woke Sarah up from being bitten by flies. Then Chess told Caleb that if you don't listen to me, I will kill Sarah. To this, Caleb asked, "What do you really want from us?" Then Chess replied, "I still have a lot of powers over all four of you, but I need to become even more powerful. Tomorrow, when your assignment is due, I will take all your powers from you. And yes, I had to kill that boy in the car, even though I didn't want to, because he saw me using my powers." But when Caleb refused him, Chess attacked him with his powers. He started beating Caleb and said that these powers are like a drug. "I have become addicted to them, but if I take your powers from you all, the bad effects will decrease." Caleb explained to him that, "Look, gaining more power will not give you power. Your age will decrease." Chess did not listen to him and said that, "I don't care about this thing." He threatened him that he would kill your friends and all your families in your time. "If you want to prevent that, I must receive your powers in the treatment tomorrow." Saying this, he left. Caleb goes to the hospital to meet a friend because Chess had beaten him badly. That day, when he tells the other two friends about what happened with Chess, they say that they should fight him. But Caleb refuses because he knows they won't win that way, and he shouts and leaves. At the hospital, he meets Sarah, who is confused about what is happening. That's why she asks Caleb about it. When Caleb takes Sarah inside the old house where he had come to deliver medicines before, he shows her the old man whose hand we had seen and tells Sarah that this is his dad. He is only 40 years old, but due to excessive use of powers, he has aged quickly. Then he tells Sarah everything about himself and Chess. He says that if he gives his powers to her, he will die. Caleb also tells his mom and friends about this and says that he will go to Chess alone now. He plans to meet him at a party where he won't use his powers in front of others. Saying this, Caleb sets out to go to Chess, but on the way, Chess attacks Caleb and takes him to an old house. There, Sarah is also lying unconscious. Seeing this, Caleb gets angry. He tries to attack Chess with his powers and says that he will never give him his powers. After this, a dangerous fight begins between them and both are using their powers to the fullest. But here, Chess has no effect on Caleb because he is more powerful and starts beating Caleb with the help of his powers. As night falls, the powers begin to assign and a significant growth of powers starts within him, increasing his powers many times, allowing him to attack Chess. But Chess is still overpowering him. Meanwhile, Caleb's mom goes to his dad and says that their son is in trouble. He needs more powers. So his dad collects all his powers and gives them to Caleb, causing a storm of powers to enter him, making him even more powerful than Chess. With this newfound strength, he launches a heavy attack on Chess and finally exhausts him. This way, his game is over, after which Caleb rescues Sarah. Additionally, both his female friend and friend also recover completely. Now, due to Chess's demise, his body was not found by the police. After this, Sarah and Caleb safely leave. With their departure, the story also ends here.